This is 42-year-old Michelle Williams of Keller, Texas. As you can see, her face appears to be in a lot of pain. She is being consoled by a female police officer, and she has quite the story to tell. She has survived a home invasion just hours before this, and she's badly shaken up. But that is nothing compared to what happened to her husband Greg, who had his life ended when he was shot in the head. Despite living in a gated community, the intruder entered their home in the early morning hours of October the 13th of 2011. When authorities arrived, they would find Michelle sitting on the front porch, and after securing the scene, they would quickly whisk Michelle to the station. The police would spend the better part of 6 hours speaking with Michelle, seeking to get vital information about the intruder. Little did they know at the time that Michelle and her story would need to be highly scrutinized. As they do the gunshot residue testing, take her clothes for analysis, and photograph her injuries, let me throw out a question here for my audience. You are Michelle for the day. You've just been taken to the hospital for treatment after being a witness to the home invasion that killed your husband. An officer walks up and says, "Hey, we really need to get you down to the station to give us a statement about what happened tonight. We need your help to catch the person who did this." Knowing what we all say in every video, to never speak to the police without an attorney, in your own words, what would you say to the cop in this situation?
M-I-C-H-E-L-L-E?
No.
C-H-E-L-E?
Yes.
Middle name, ma'am?
Marie.
And it's Williams.
Yes.
You talked to Beth a little bit, and Officer Lopez, and some people, but, kind of tell me how the even went, transpired all the way up to the incident. Okay? If you know what rough time frame, well, we watched Dancing with the Stars at 8 o'clock or something like that. Something pertinent, if you'll tell me those kind of things, I appreciate it.
We went to Taylor's choir program at Central Junior High at 7 o'clock. Me, Craig, and
Okay.
we stayed just long enough to watch her sing. She only did one performance, and we're both feeling really sick. So we did that. We didn't have dinner until afterwards, so we stopped and picked up Taco Bueno, which was a big joke because he's always wanting to watch what he eats, and he keeps requesting all that crap. So we ate Taco Bueno at home, but Greg lives in the bedroom. That is, if he's not in the office, he's in the bedroom. He is a workaholic, and he eats in the bed. I had to learn to accept that years ago. So he ate in the bedroom as usual, and me and Michaela ate at the table. And I was just doing lots of housework because we've got the house on the market.
Let me interrupt you right quick. I'm sorry. You said Greg ate in the bed, like literally in the bed?
All the time.
Okay. You said in the bedroom, so I want to
yes, in the bed. He eats. There's always, I change sheets every day. There's always crumbs in that bed. He eats breakfast, dinner, sometimes lunch in that bed.
Okay. So you had to set up for a computer in the bed so he worked out of bed?
He's got a laptop in there.
Well, I didn't know if he had to build a big screen. They said there was a TV in the bedroom. So.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous big TV for the bedroom. It's insane. He's very tech.
Okay, you're doing good.
All of a sudden, all the little faces don't matter, Complain about a piece of stuff. So, as usual, clean up at night. We got the house on the market, and we're renting it. And so the landlord is has agreed, when we moved in, that we're looking to buy, because we sold a house real quick in Colleyville in April. So we had to rent until we found something. So we did a 2-year lease, planning on custom building. Then we came across this deal, so we are supposed to close tomorrow on this home.
Okay, so you're actually you're renting the house you're in on Jacob, okay?
Right. And we just recently talked with the landlord and told him we found a deal, what would be fair to get out of the lease legitimately and all that. And Greg is a major businessman negotiator. They worked it through really good. We're going to try to get it leased out, and we're going to pay until it's leased out and go ahead and do our deal. So I was making sure the house was extra clean, because it just went actually on the MLS yesterday, or sorry, day before. So I was cleaning. I was laying on the couch. She sleeps on the couch because a few months ago she came down in the middle of the night and fell down the stairs. And we would have moved her bedroom downstairs to my office, but we knew we were going to move. So we put her on the couch, so that's where she sleeps every night. And
You said you're supposed to close
Friday.
Where was that probably located?
1313 Stone Hollow Court.
I'm sorry?
1313 Stone Hollow Court. It's in Stonebridge, off Pearson.
So you're going to stay in Keller?
Yeah, we like Keller. I was in Keller Montessori. Her whole life is right here in Keller, and we bought the yogurt shop. So.
Okay. So I'm going to sleep on the couch.
I was getting her to sleep, and
any ideal time frame? 9 o'clock?
9:30. Me and Greg are very late nighters. We stay up sometimes 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, watching shows or whatever. I didn't go into the room until maybe 11:30, doing laundry and floors and stuff like that. And he was, of course, with his laptop, and he had the TV on, but he was working on the laptop. And then he was real excited because we just got our final head statement in, and he printed it out so we could talk about the exciting things about closing on the house and everything we're going to have done and all that. So we went over that. We looked at a few things online. It's close to 1 o'clock in the morning when we started watching. I don't even know. He watches all kinds of things. He puts on Netflix. Some angel movie or something. Brooklyn. I don't know. He's got all kinds of movies on our Netflix thing, and he took 3 Tylenol PM because he hadn't been sleeping. So when he's sick, he doesn't sleep, whereas when I'm sick, I sleep better. And so he hadn't been sleeping, so he takes his sleep aid around 10 or 11, his natural vitamins, and then around 1 o'clock in the morning, he takes 3 Tylenol PMs.
Okay.
I fell asleep before he did, and so I don't know
sometime
what time
after 1.
Yeah, I don't know what time he fell asleep. Still gets up 3-4 times a week in the middle of the night. So I heard a noise, and honestly, it was for something that I don't know, because we have the cabinet door shut. The only clock is on the DVR, and Greg keeps the door shut because he only uses the smart TV. So all the wires and everything, he doesn't like to see the wires. So that's where our clock is. So usually I don't know what time it is in the middle of the night until I get into the kitchen and look at the microwave to see what time she woke up. I heard a sound. I get up.
This was what time, you think?
Or something.
Okay.
And I didn't get past the bedroom door. I opened up the bedroom door, and I got hit by, I still don't know what. I got hit by something. Everything fuzzy and different to me. I could see it was a male in dark stuff, dark clothing, but I couldn't tell you really any details about that.
I just walked in the foyer of the house. I didn't go through the whole house. So, correct me if I'm wrong, you go in the house and turn right, and there's like 2 or 3 steps to the door, then your bedroom.
Right.
So you were coming out that door towards
Correct.
the foyer. Okay.
Correct.
And then, like, say, something struck you. You described, you said, a male in dark clothing. I mean, full dark, like hood, hat, anything, or just clothing itself?
Just clothing.
Okay.
Within what I thought was seconds, I heard some talking, but I couldn't tell what it was, and I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but it was very, very country. And that just struck me really funny because we just don't know country. I can't think of, it was so Bubba.
Okay, was it multiple voices or like somebody talking on the phone, or do you recall?
It was one voice. And I don't know if Greg responded. I know Greg was moving, but I was down, there's a couple of steps going up, and I had come out of the bedroom, got hit, and when I woke, I was partway down on one of the stairs.
Okay, so it actually kind of knocked.
It knocked me out.
Okay.
I really don't think very long, but it knocked me out long enough to know that it got real fuzzy at that point. I could see in the bedroom, because right there, that's the bedroom. Right when you open up those doors, it's the bedroom right there. And I could see movement, and I heard, which I didn't realize was a gunshot at that moment. And he ran out the back door. Which he struggled with. It was locked. I know it was locked. I walked down the house like crazy every night.
So ran out the back door, out of the...
There's a door in the master that goes to the pool. And this whole process seemed like it was a matter of 2 minutes. From the time I got to check on the
So after all that happened, okay, after he ran out the door, what did you recall doing, Michelle?
I crawled over to Greg. And
Crawled?
Yeah, I was down on the floor. So I crawled over there because it's maybe 10 feet from the bed. It was the bedroom door. I grabbed a hold of his hand, and I felt blood running down the bed. And I looked at him, but I didn't look at him that much.
Didn't
He had blood. And so I called 911, and while I was calling 911, I ran out there to check on me.
Tell me, you called 911. I know it sounds like minute details to you, but it's very specific for me. You called 911. Was there a phone right by the bed?
Yeah.
Cell phone?
Yeah, both our cell phones.
So,
right on the nightstand, we keep both cell phones right there.
so both on Greg's side?
Yeah.
From cell phone. You don't even know which one you used, or?
I know it was mine. Mine was hot pink, and I know later on that's the one that one of the officers took from me.
Okay. Then you said you ran out to check on.
Yeah, while I was on the phone, I went out, still asleep. The door by where she was sleeping, which also leads to the backyard, was open.
The door,
Inside my office. And
back door that was in your office, by your office?
yeah. And that one, we don't even use much anymore because a while back the key stopped working in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the deadbolt. Everyone kept complaining. Stephanie and Steve, the only two that would ever use it because me and Greg come in through the garage all the time. So they use, we have lots of doors. They use the big French doors that go into the kitchen area, which is just maybe 10, 15 feet from that other door I'm talking about. And it was open. I didn't walk over to it.
Was it open all the way or just open?
Just less than halfway, but not just barely. Maybe 12 inches, I don't know.
Okay. Can you recall what you did? You went checking the camera, saw the door was open, and then what?
The lady on the phone kept telling me go outside, and I kept telling her I can't go outside. I got the baby in the house, and I need an ambulance. And I went to the front door, but then I kept coming back in to look at both of them to make sure that nobody was coming back in the house. I couldn't leave my unattended at that point, but I was so afraid to get her up and get her all upset, and I didn't want her to be bothered. You're doing this.
So you never actually went outside or got in the car until officers arrived?
I went outside and came back in and went outside and came, just kept pacing back and forth. I walked over to the bedroom. I walked back over to just constantly put my eyes on both of them to make sure that nobody else came back in. And it seemed like forever. I don't know how long from the time I got on the phone it actually was, but once I actually put eyes on a cop who got out of the car and walked to me, that's when they said they would take care of it and they would check the house. It just all happened so quick.
And that's why I want to try to talk to you. And basically what we say is initial statement, and then give you a minute to think and relax and calm down. I'll step out and just let you kind of calm down and relax. And a lot of times things come back. So, then I'll come back in the room when you're thinking of things. I'll come back and we'll kind of go over it all again, because there'll be some more details I want to know. I've already stopped you a couple times, but there's more I want to know. And then, like I say, we'll build a story from there, basically. And me recalling and asking questions helps you recall information that you don't think is pertinent. It's pertinent to me.
Okay.
Right? So things like that. So basically, once you make contact with an officer, he said, "Well, wait out here. We'll take care of it. We'll search, clear the house, and all that."
Yeah. Well, I wanted to go back in, and of course they wouldn't let me. But
okay. A couple of quick more questions, and I'm gonna give you a break and let you. Okay. Firearms in the house. Any.
Greg keeps his less there.
I'm sorry?
Greg keeps his less there under the nightstand. Less there. I know very little about guns, but he was very proud of it. We bought it a couple of years ago.
Which is a pistol?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to say a 45 because I think he bought me a 40, but I'd be really guessing on that.
Okay.
He keeps it in the little gun bag thing, loaded on safety under the nightstand.
Keeps it in a gun bag?
Mm-hmm. He used to keep it not in the gun bag, under the mattress, loaded but on safety. And we argued about that a lot because it would help me do the bed.
Mm-hmm.
She would help him do the sheets and stuff, and I was afraid that I would forget that it's there and she would get it. And we, for the longest time, kept him in the safe. We had, at our other house, we had the in-wall safe.
Mm-hmm.
Greg's very cautious, very suspicious. He doesn't trust cops. He doesn't trust people. So he bought the in-wall safe and we hung a picture over it in the house that we just sold. Yes.
Okay.
So that was right by the bed. He felt good about that. Since we moved into this house, our safe is just a big gun safe in our closet in the master bedroom, which you have to go into the master bath, into the closet, unlock it. He felt, well, what good is that doing him if anyone ever did break in? So he kept it right by the bed.
You said it was in a gun bag. Black, green, blue.
Black. We both have identical black, nothing fancy, just
Okay.
a little
Loaded in the nightstand. Now, nightstand.
under the nightstand,
Like,
on the floor.
on the floor. And I'm assuming, again, don't know your bedroom stuff. Y'all have nightstands on both sides of the beds?
Yes.
It's on his side?
Yes.
Okay. Any other and I know you said there's a gun safe and there's probably multiple things and,
Yes.
you know, that's not pertinent to me. Any other weapons that are loose in the house?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
That's the only
What
one
about,
that
you said he got you a 40?
Yeah, it is
Was it in the safe?
it's in the safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the only firearm that was loose in the house or out in the house was this Les Baird.
Right. And he's got a couple of rifles in the safe that were his grandfather's also. But to my knowledge, that's the only one in the house. There's certain things Greg did not include me in. Somewhat private about certain things. I didn't know that gun was under the nightstand until one day I was vacuuming, and that turned into an ordeal that I had to agree. For some reason, he wanted that there, so.
But like I said, that's the only one, so there's a potential we don't have 20 guns running around, is what we're afraid of. The perpetrator took guns, we don't want to look at that angle,
Right.
so just something I want to check. You know, and again, I know it's personal, but I have to ask, I mean, what about financial, no problems, y'all are doing good business-wise?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're doing excellent.
No problem with debts or anything like that?
No, we just got approved for a house loan at 3.25% for a
Good.
$450,000 home, and yeah, we're doing very well financially.
Business ventures, no problems with any, I say problems, I mean, I might be happy with all the service, but no major problems with any, clients or anything like that. Okay.
Very few customers ever get upset with him. People in general don't like him. He's what we call an asshole, and the biggest joke always is when people say, how do you deal with such an asshole? It's like, he's my asshole, and it's our joke even with the company, he is an ass. But when he's good, he's really, really good, and everyone knows that. Any of his family will even say, he's a jerk.
Yeah.
Everything is, he pisses off people all the time.
Just his demeanor.
Yeah, he's just.
Okay. And again, just a couple more quick things, and I'll give you, obviously, we'll take a little break here and give you time to go to the bathroom or relax or anything. Any other, no prior history with marital problems on the and I know it's tough, difficult, but, I have to ask all this, like I say, because in a minute when I come back, we're going to get into the daughter, and we're going to break down a lot more. Okay. I just want to kind of hit the top right now.
Him and his ex-wife fight a lot. Kathy. He doesn't agree with how she is with Taylor at all. Any counselor, Debbie McSherry has been our counselor at Lena Pope Home for a year now, and she has seen their problem. I mean, they really fight bad, but she cowers down to him, and he's a real jerk to her, but for the most part, she's very difficult. She's a very difficult person to deal with.
The ex-wife?
Yeah.
What was her name?
Catherine Williams, and she just asked to borrow $3,600 about a month ago, and he said no, and that turned into a big ordeal because she thinks that he should still take care of her for some reason. Yeah, she's kind of a thorn in everyone's side, every family member on Greg's side. Just nobody really likes her. She's really a very negative, difficult person to deal with on a day-to-day basis. He has another ex-wife, but he hadn't talked to her in years. They had no children together, and it was a very short marriage. My ex-husband, I hadn't talked to them in years. My kids are grown, and
when were you and Greg married?
September 7th of 2008. We've been together since February of 2006. We've both been divorced twice, so we wanted to be sure before we got married that
Understand that.
that this was for real.
And again, get you just a couple quick things, and I'll give you a break. No issues between you and him. No prior contacts. He's not worried about you. I mean, I know a lot of times, you have your phone, he has his, and so forth. He's not worried about you potentially having an affair. There's never been a question or problem about that.
No.
Infidelity either way. No questions or things. I mean, obviously, y'all are together, sounds like pretty much 20 years.
Yeah, we are almost 99% of the time side by side. So Ben takes that whole fear out of a relationship. So yeah, we work together on everything.
No recent threats or anything, weird neighborhood stuff, anything. I mean, you're in a gated community, so I mean.
I know. We felt really safe in that community.
Nothing else like that you can think of. Let me give you a quick break. If you go to the bathroom or anything, definitely make sure you get it where you need to go.
Okay.
Let me, like I say, give you a minute to think. I mean, like I say, a lot of times when you talk, obviously it seems better that you get it off your chest and go through details. The more I talk to you, the more details you're going to come up with. That's very specific for us right now to know as much as we can. I know it's hard. I think you've already probably talked to 2 or 3 people, so now, pretty much everything you do now is going to be through me. So, I mean, she's going to be with you the way, and I'm going to be here to ask questions and work with you on that. Because I'll have some specifics. I need to make some phone calls and find out more information so I can ask more pertinent details that I don't know information about already. So that's why I'm taking the time to take a look. Yeah.
Will you tell me about Greg's town?
Yeah, I'm saying I'll find out that one. I'll have to call them and find out what's going on over there and everything. Okay? Like I say, she'll answer any questions, or if you have anything pertinent for me, she knows where I'm at right there in the corner, okay? I'll give you a minute. If you need to go to the bathroom or anything.
Yeah.
After a short break, the detective returns to take some photos of Michelle's injuries. Then he gives her some bad news about Greg. In cases like this, where the spouse is being interviewed as a witness and at some point turns into a suspect, you kind of wonder when that moment hits a detective, when he starts to kind of wonder if they're responsible. If you watch carefully, I think you might come to the same conclusion that I'm coming to, that this might just be that moment.
They just want a picture of, if you would just kind of let me take a picture. They want a picture on the scene. They want to see your injury. Look to your left. There you go. One more of it. There's not much I can say in this. Graves deceased. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let you hear with Bethany for a little bit. Okay. Okay. So I'll come back in here with you in a minute.
The detective allows the emotions to settle down a bit before resuming the questioning.
And like I said, all I do is apologize and give you my condolences, but obviously, you know how these things work, and a lot of times in the first, 24, 48 hours is the most crucial for us. So, I know it's not the best time to continue to try to talk to you and get information from you, but I'm going to have to try to, get as much information as we can, okay? So, I'll give you a minute. Like I say, but I've got to really get on this and get the details and try to get something out as quick as possible to try to help us catch the offender, okay?
Okay.
You're okay. Right, now we're not in a hurry, okay?
Oh my God. She must be nice so bad. I just wanted to be okay. Honestly. You did everything. You called us. That's all that you could do. That's all that you could do.
I know I forgot some information that I didn't ask earlier. One other thing I think of is maybe there's a security system on the house.
Never activated it.
Okay.
And our guy Steve is our
Ma'am?
Steve McSwain is our security guy, and Greg kept saying we really need to do that.
So I'm going to hit little details,
Okay.
just to try to help me. Kind of just run over the story with you again. Maybe you can fill in any gaps for me. Okay. So y'all, yesterday evening about 7 p.m. went to Central High School to see Taylor's choir. And once y'all were done, after she performed, y'all didn't stay for the whole thing. Y'all didn't feel well. Basically, he said y'all kind of went and picked up Taco Bell and then took it home.
When we got there,
Got home?
to the choir,
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, who's usually at Greg's ex-wife,
Mm-hmm.
who's usually a bitch, walked up and said, I'll come meet some of my family. So we met some strangers. I don't know if that's pertinent or not, but there were some people that Greg shook their hand. He said, hi, my name is Craig. Actually, y'all know me as Asshole. And I don't know who they were, but it was people, and she said meet my family, which I thought was kind of weird because they were married for 10 years and knew each other, I think 15 years. And I thought Greg had met everyone, so I just wanted to add that.
It's something to follow up on. I mean, that's one thing. That's why we're doing this. You said once you got home, you say Greg's a workaholic and he eats in bed a lot. So Greg ate his taco bueno in bed, and you and Michaela ate at the table.
Right.
And then obviously you started cleaning up the house since it was on the market. Since y'all were renting for a couple of years and just on the market a couple of days before. So, I usually sleeps on the couch, so you put her down, excuse me, put her down on the couch and try to start helping getting her to sleep about 9:30. Excuse me, and that's about normal for her.
Right.
Okay. And then, about 11, you continue cleaning and doing laundry, you said, and you went into the bedroom about 11:30, roughly. And Greg was in bed with the laptop. He talked about how you just got your HUD statement. Y'all discussed that and talked about things you could do at the house y'all were purchasing, searched online, looked at some stuff you said.
Right.
You said approximately 1 o'clock. He had some stuff on Netflix, and y'all watched something with Brooklyn Angels or something. Something with Angels in Brooklyn, I guess it was.
Or something like that, yeah.
Okay, and he took 3 Tylenol PM to help sleep.
Right.
Then you fell asleep sometime after that.
Almost.
Sometime after 4, you don't know. Why would you say it was after 4?
Because I know when I finally saw the clock in the ambulance, it was 5-something.
So you heard a noise and got up. Okay, let me go back. When you went to bed, now the bedroom door was shut going toward the foyer?
Say that again?
The bedroom door, like you come in the house and turn right, you go up the little steps to your bedroom. That door, you close that door?
I never closed it all the way, so I can hear it.
Door was closed partially.
Right.
And one more thing about watch TV. Does y'all usually watch TV every night?
Every night.
Does the TV stay on all night?
All
Usually turn it off?
All night. Yeah, it depends on, he's got some kind of timer on it. Sometimes I'll wake up and it'll have the little bouncing Samsung, the screensaver on, depending on, I don't know how he's got it set, depending on what we watch. But sometimes on Netflix, when I wake up in the morning, it's on that. But other times I'll wake up and the TV's still on. But he never actually powers it off, ever.
Then sometime after 4, you believe, and you're just guesstimating that based on the time you were in the ambulance, right?
Right.
Okay. You heard a noise. Said you got up. I'm assuming there was light because the TV was on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as far as any other light in the house, in the bedroom?
Not in the bedroom.
Just the TV's the only thing illuminating the bedroom.
Right.
Okay. And what about, I'm assuming the back door was closed?
Yeah.
Going out that way?
Yes.
Okay. So you went around the bed and went to the door, opened the door, and then you said you were struck.
Right.
And it kind of knocked you out for a short time.
Right.
But you made a comment that it was a male in dark clothing. So
right.
you saw him before you got struck, I'm guessing?
No, I don't. It makes sense to me now. You don't even know what hit you. I didn't even realize I got hit or anything until I was sitting on the step and kind of sitting up a little bit, and I can see a man in dark clothing, and I can see Greg moving. That was all I could see.
That was when you woke up?
When I woke up.
Okay. What type, I mean, if you had to describe the noise, close your eyes and think, if you had to describe the noise you thought you heard that got you to get up and go out, leave the room, what would you think that would be?
Maybe a door. I don't know. It wasn't a cry, but Michaela's not a big crier. She moves around, and movement.
Well, and I know they said the TV was on when they went in the house. They said the volume was turned up real loud in the bedroom.
Yeah.
So one of my concerns is, how did you hear that over the TV? I mean, I know there's motherly instincts, don't get me wrong, but I mean, they said, I mean, it was blaring.
And it is every night, and I hear her every night, and I go out to her. It's one of those, over time, your mind as a mom really does listen. No, Greg, you can't hear a damn thing. He's like, oh, did I wake up? It's like, yeah, every night.
So you kind of woke up, you're saying you woke up and that's when you saw movement in the bedroom. And that's when you believe it was a male in black coat.
Right.
Okay.
I'm trying so hard
to
hear it in my head what it is I heard, because I know it was very country, but I can't even put words.
Who was he talking to?
I don't know. I saw Greg move. I don't know if he was talking to Greg.
Okay. And you heard the noise, and then you said after that the guy immediately ran out the back door.
After I heard the gunshot, which at that time I think I was just dumbfounded as to what that sound actually was until after the fact, and I could smell the whole room smelled of a gunshot, and he was gone out the door before I could even realize what the hell was going on.
And this is based off what little I saw and what you told me.
Okay.
I'm just going to add. And say the door's right here, we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I guess this wall angles, I think.
TV.
Okay. And this is the nightstand.
Right.
And I'm assuming this is the side he sleeps on, and this is the nightstand.
Right.
And then I don't know what's over here, but
yeah.
I know there's a door here.
The door. Yeah, this is just a dresser, solid wall.
The dresser over here.
And over here is the doorway goes into the master. This whole is master.
On this wall next to the nightstand or back here?
Right next to the nightstand.
Okay. It goes back. Okay.
Yeah.
You said the gun was underneath this nightstand.
Correct.
Okay. Now I know this is probably out, not the scale. Obviously, I don't know where this door may be closer back this way or whatever. I don't.
Pretty accurate.
Right in here, about halfway.
Yeah, actually, a little bit more like where
Okay, so it was here.
Pretty
okay,
much.
so
Yeah.
All right. So you get struck here. You see. Was the person standing here next to the bed?
No. When I saw movement, it was over here. I saw Greg moving, and I saw the man standing over here.
You're saying
almost directly in front of where I was.
So at the foot of the bed.
Right.
Okay. And you were here the whole time. You heard the talking, the movement. At what point? And you said you heard a shot. Was he standing here? When you heard? Do you recall that? When you heard all that, where was?
I saw him for a second here, and then I saw him out the door. So I don't know at what point.
There?
Yeah.
Okay. So the only place you actually saw in the room when you awoke standing here, you saw what you believed due to the, I'm assuming with the TV here, with the light. That's what you believe to be a white male, or a male, not a white male. A male in dark clothing with a country accent.
Right.
Standing here at the foot of the bed.
Right.
And then you heard a shot, and then immediately he goes out the back door. And you kind of talked earlier about the back door. So he unlocked it, locked it. I mean,
he would have had to unlock it because
you don't know that he unlocked it.
I don't know, right?
Did he?
I know.
You made a comment earlier that he struggled. You You made a comment earlier that he struggled with the door.
Yeah, he was there. It wasn't like running out an open door.
Okay. But you saw him from this point to that point.
That point. And he was there
struggle with the door
long enough for me to see him at that door.
Again, because I don't know how well this TV lights up this room.
It just depends on if it's a night scene or, you know what I mean, if it's a night scene or a day scene or whatever. It was light enough for me to see, but it was no detail. I have no.
You don't recall? I mean, it's hard. I know it's, that's why I want to think back. Was he facing the bed, facing the door? Don't recall.
I don't know.
Okay. That's all right.
Sorry.
No, you're doing great. It's just things we've got to try to iron out, unfortunately. And then you said once you exited the door, you crawled over to the bed, grabbed his hand, and then you grabbed your phone. Was on his nightstand.
Yeah, we played this stupid game at night, and he was messing with it, helping me. I don't play games, and he was trying to help me get more points and show stuff. So he's very technical, and I'm learning to be technical. So sometimes we'll just toss them both over there. Cuddled up. He took his medicine, and went to bed.
Okay. And then, like you said, you grabbed your phone and called 911. And like I said, then you ran out while you were doing that check. And as you walked out, you saw the back door open to your office. Or I say, leading by your office, leading outside, it was ajar. It wasn't all the way open. It was less than halfway, is what you said. And they told you to go outside. And you obviously you're just like, no, I didn't check on them. So you kept kind of running back and forth and looking to the bedroom and also the living room, checking on them.
Correct.
Did you go back in the room, see anything else in the room? Anything besides that? Did you go back and check on him? Did you go grab any clothes? What's your awareness? What you had on?
Yeah, what I was wearing, PJs.
That's normal attire for you.
Right? Yeah, either it's fleece pants or it's spandex, just something like that. That's almost every night. So as opposed to getting into something, I had some just a second ago. I'm sorry. I lost it. Yeah, no, I was in exactly what I was in, and Greg keeps it freezing in that room, and I'm always cold. I've got blankets all over the place, and always in long sleeves. Middle of the summer, long pants, long sleeves, because I'm always cold, and he gets really hot, and it's comfort.
Yeah.
So all I did. The only thing I did was go back in, and I reached for his hand. And when I grabbed his hand, I felt blood coming out of his mouth, and blood dripping down the side of the bed. And I freaked out, totally freaked out.
I understand. You know, take another quick break. Are you okay?
Okay.
Okay. Obviously, there's some details I really need to go over with you, so I want to make sure you're okay before we go there. We go further.
Okay.
Okay, you good? Okay. You made a comment earlier about the back door by your office. You said the deadbolt, the key would work in it, so it's always locked.
It's never used because the deadbolt wouldn't always lock. Sometimes the key would work. One of the, I don't remember if it was Stephanie or Steve, someone got the key broken, and because they couldn't get it out, we had to use pliers to get it out. So that door is seldom even opened. It's just not even used.
And but you made a comment, earlier initially that, you kind of do a sweep and check all the doors and stuff. So, I mean, there's no signs of forced entry, which means we can't find anywhere anybody broke into the house. So the question is, how does someone access the house? That's, first of all. Okay. So that's an issue. That's why, I'm taking breaks for my purpose, not only you, but I can make a phone call and try to get more details so I can talk to you.
I have a hide key outside.
Okay.
In the grill, right by that back door.
In the
bottom drawer. The bottom drawer closest to the door, there's a little divider. It's in the back part of it.
We have to give Michelle credit. She came up with an explanation really fast for how the intruder got into her house without any forced entry. But there is one problem. If the detectives look and find that hide key still in her grill, either she's lying or the home intruder was kind enough to place the key back where he or she found it. Have you noticed that I don't have ads playing every 4 to 5 minutes throughout my videos, effectively ruining your viewing experience? Well, I did it for you. I moved my ads into 2 separate commercial breaks, one in the middle of the video and one near the end. This should effectively give you extremely long periods of ad-free crime action. If you want to reward me for trying to give you a better viewing experience, you could do so by watching the complete video until the end. Thanks, friends.
That's the only key I have out anywhere, besides the lockbox that's on the front door.
I'll need to check that. Okay. Well, and again, and I know it sounds meticulous for me to ask, but I have to really get this information. One, as loud as they said the TV, I know it was mother instinct. I don't know how you would have heard anything in the other room. That's the concern. That you were leaving. So that's why I'm trying to really think of that. How that could. Again, they said it was ungodly how loud it was.
It always is. It's usually on 50 or 60 of the number, and that's how loud he keeps it. And I've heard more times than not.
Okay. Okay. So after, and I know I'm going to kind of jump around, you said after you made the phone call, you did go back in and grab his hand again. You never went anywhere else in the house besides there and to look at it. Okay. And all I can do, Michelle, is, you have to be honest with me and tell me anything else that's going on, any other details that you can think of, anything you think is not pertinent could be pertinent, because basically what information we're getting right now doesn't match up with the scene. Okay?
I'm telling you, keep asking. I'm telling you what I know.
So I'm just, the door that you said was normally secured and nobody uses access was open. And assuming by way you talk, if you came out and contacted an actor here, suspect here, they would have to access that door. Normally people do one or two things when they break into houses that are occupied. Home invasion, where they plan on going in gunpoint or taking them, as hostage type thing, or, tying them up, doing something, robbing them or whatever, they don't normally just sneak to a house. And the big TV was on in the front, I say front, the living room, a room I sleep in, went to, no input or whatever after a certain time or whatever. But, so they would have seen her there. And anything else there. You had your office. I didn't go through the property. I just know your office was back there. You said about your office. So they had access to a lot of different properties. So there's one issue we have. Again, not doubting or disputing, because I'm not a mother and never have been, never will be, obviously. But, the issue of, overhearing her over that, again, not doubting, I'm just saying those are questions that come up, and and looking at the stuff that they're giving me information about the stuff on the scene just doesn't match the story. So I'm trying to find out, for sure what happened here. That's my job. And unfortunately, I have to do it with what limited information I can get from you. I'm not saying you've done great and give me a lot of information, but there's more. You just gotta I gotta get it out of you. That's my job. And I'm making phone calls trying to guess what's going on over there and what they're seeing there, because I didn't get to see it all. So I'm trying to put things together. That's why it's a lot of questionable to me, because I didn't have an opportunity to go through everything and know all the details. So don't take it personal that I'm asking these questions or saying it. Just through my experience, 21 years, it just doesn't. These things aren't adding up, and that's what I'm telling you. Okay.
I understand.
So I need to call them and tell them about the key, the hide key, see if they can locate that by chance. Again, that's things that we're looking at. Okay. No forced entry. Obviously they're going to have a team there doing prints and everything. Obviously, both back doors and so forth. What about the guns? Y'all shoot regularly? Know how to shoot, so forth? Have you shot the West Bear before?
One time, a year or two ago, Greg let me try it. We just bought the guns 2 years ago, and he took me 3 or 4 times when we lived in East Texas, and I really suck at it. And the joke always was
that's why I'm watching 40.
Yeah, it was a sexy gun, and that's what I say. So you can't shoot it, but it looks good in your hand. I had gone shooting in over a year. He took some friends, one of the customers that owns a ranch. He took mine and his maybe 6 months ago shooting, but we didn't go often, and I hadn't gone in a year or two even.
See, a gun fanatic, I say fanatic, not overzealous, but cleans it and babies it.
No, he
never
really
cleans it?
doesn't do much at all with it. He bought a cleaning kit, and he told me one day, you're going to have to learn how to clean it. And I said, I don't even want the gun. So,
what did you say? He bought you a 40 cal?
I don't even know what it is. It's a stainless steel, silver, something. A Beretta. I knew when we bought it, it was just a very cool looking gun. We went to a gun show, and he just thought that that's what we needed, and he goes through whims, and
don't we all, especially when it comes to guns. Women have their shopping things, guys have their guns. That's not an issue. Well, let me call him real quick about the hide key and see what they can find. And I'll ask any more details, because unfortunately, the longer they're there, they can tell me a little more about it. Obviously, they're going to be done, and I need to try to wrap this up. So, think about it, and then, and I'll ask them to see what other details I come back with right quick. I will call about the hide key. That's very important. Okay.
Are you hungry or anything else? No, a headache somehow.
You got a headache? You want me to get you some Advil?
Oh, I'm sure she does have a headache, but not from being hit in the face. Her blood pressure is probably sky high after the detective said he's going to call the crime scene investigators about that hide key. Now, one of the things that I love with this detective, and you're going to see this a lot more going forward, is the way he starts the process almost every time he comes in the room. He asked her, "Have you thought of anything else?" You just know that Michelle is making up lies 1,000 times per minute right now. What better way to expose those lies than to just ask her to tell them?
All right, we're going to check that information that you gave me. We're going to check on that. Just don't get back with me. Okay? Anything else you thought about? Anything else you thought of off the top of your head?
I'm just reaching for possibilities. Greg bought steroids from somebody, I don't know who, but he has steroids in the refrigerator in our bedroom.
And what? Refrigerator in
the refrigerator in our master closet. Just a few weeks ago, he had me give him $300 cash. And I didn't ask questions. I wasn't supposed to ask questions anytime. I didn't want to know anything. He's got a couple of different things in there, and I don't know who.
Personal trainer? From a personal trainer?
From somebody at a gym. He went to a couple of different 24-hour fitnesses.
That was 2 weeks ago?
3 or 4 weeks ago. Within a month.
So the refrigerators, and where?
In the master closet.
You said that was when you gave him $300 to $400?
Yeah. He, every so often he says, give me X amount of cash from the safe, and I give him cash from the safe. And he, I learned a couple years ago not to ask. If he asks for cash, he's doing something. So.
You mentioned cash from safe.
We have a little bit of cash that we keep.
Not a large amount, then.
$20,000. It depends on what you consider large at home.
And that's a normal?
Yeah, we used to keep more, but he decided not to keep that much at the house anymore.
But that was all done at the gym, nobody over. Do you have to give him injections, or he does it himself? Or?
Oh, I don't do any of it. Yeah, he does
Is it injectable or pills?
Injectable.
So it's like actual steroid, testosterone. And
he goes through phases where he'll use it, and then he'll stop for a while, and then he'll use it.
So he's used steroids for a while?
Okay. Done them. You never know who he gets it from. He keeps private stuff very private and away from me and Nicola. He has quite a few of the not so good friends that I've met but hadn't seen them in a couple of years. He keeps them away too. He has had lots of past. No criminal records except for I think when he was 17. But he knows drug dealers and bad people. He's kind of like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of. Yeah.
Seen some of the people. So you and you were mentioning these people and stuff. And the reason, and obviously, time frame does matter. So y'all sold your house in April and moved in this house here in March, roughly. I mean, April, May. Yeah. So y'all have only been here 6 months or so.
That's right.
Okay. So you don't know. I mean, you can't honestly say you know he uses marijuana, methamphetamine, cocaine, heroin, anything.
I can say I know he doesn't use any of that. He does not use drugs besides steroids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just that you're, I mean, you know he doesn't use them. He knows the people. I guess you'd say. Okay. Yeah. One thing they said, you made a comment earlier about cleaning house and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
what were you? I guess what were you doing as far as cleaning the house?
Just pudging the table and sweeping the floor. I never got around to mopping it. Sweeping the floor, wiping counters. I didn't do major. I keep the house decent all the time. So it was just, I cleaned up, not a big time scrubbing. I knew we were going to be out all day, and we were hoping that somebody would call and want to do a viewing while we weren't home.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go back to some of these issues I have. One, the back door by your office. At first you said you went secured all the doors. You said nobody used that door, so assuming it would be deadbolted all the time and locked with it up. So again, I'm waiting on that key. That's one issue I have. You don't have a clue what you were struck with or anything. Fist?
I don't have a clue. I don't know what hit me.
And then when you said, again, I'm going to go back to this drawing. You said that you were laying here. You hear a country accent on a male in all black standing at the foot of the bed. You hear a shot. You're standing here.
Right. I'm saying I'm not sure if I heard the sounds. I heard the shot. I don't know what it is. If it was the shots that woke me up, if it was the sound, if it was the voice. I don't know which came first.
So. And then after the shot or whatever, he immediately goes to the back door, messes with that, and then leaves.
Right.
Exits out somewhere, and I don't know how the layout is, so I'm not going to get into that. Anybody else been in the home recently besides your couple of workers, McSwain and the young kid? McSwain and Sheriff Keith?
Keith Sherrard. Realtor, another realtor that came and did a preview viewing. An appraiser that came out a week ago to appraise the property for the landlord was doing some kind of funding or something, and he asked if we'd let someone come do an appraisal. That was last week.
About insurance.
Why not?
Ma'am?
Home insurance?
Life insurance.
We both have life insurance on each other.
Yeah, any deal with policies, amounts, is that a great thing to handle? Or?
No, we did that together about 4 or 5 years ago. We have $500,000 on each other on one, and $150,000 on each other on another, because he wouldn't go get a physical.
I really hate to break in here, but I can't let you miss this. Michelle is trying to sell us a story that Greg was lazy, ate food in his bed, and never left his room, also refusing to go get physicals, all while also being the person to go to the gym a lot and take steroids. Can her depiction of Greg be any more contradictory?
So $500,000 each, and then you said $100,000 on who?
$150,000. We had a total of $650,000 on each of us.
So you have 2 separate policies for
Right.
each of you.
Right. And then there's a small policy that has through Gerber Life Insurance that covers her. She has $150 each.
I know it sounds odd. It's just questions we always ask. Again, I've got to go back to talking to them on the phone and discrepancies in the scene just don't add up. What they're telling me, Michelle, is we base things off things we see at the scene. That's the best way we can go back. Several things. There's no blood on your injury. You didn't bleed any, correct?
Correct.
Did you not wash yourself up? Didn't try to wash anything or do anything?
I didn't touch anything.
Didn't try to clean up anything or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Two, the steps here, there's a blood droplet on those steps. Okay.
Okay. I walked back and forth. I held Greg's
Yeah,
hand.
but you said you didn't have any blood on you or anything, so if it would have came from you, it would have had to be transferred from him to you, then you would have had to, so it would have been a larger amount of blood you would have noticed. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like, it's not talking a spot of blood, we're talking that blood to drip off your person onto the floor and on the carpet by the stairwell.
I didn't touch it. I need a lawyer, obviously.
No, I'm trying to find out.
I know, I'm just
Here's-
starting to feel
No,
like my husband's dead and I'm being blamed for it.
no, then you're not blamed. If I said anything like that,
I'm going to stop you in your tracks. Yes, she asked for a lawyer, but she is not in custody. It's a non-custodial interview. If he can calm her down and get her to keep talking, he isn't breaking any laws.
You know what?
I'm asking. Here's the thing, and this is the easiest way I can ask this question. And this is honestly the easiest way I can ask him, Michelle. And you've got to be honest with me here, because it does change things. Did Greg injure himself and you tried to cover it up?
No.
Because, I mean, obviously the signs are, I'm just asking questions because the stuff doesn't show exactly what you're telling me. I'm not saying what you're telling me is wrong, I'm just trying to find out. Okay? So that's why I got to get real specific on some stuff. I don't want to seem like I'm hammering you. It's not that. I'm just asking because
I'm trying so hard to give you
I know.
right details.
And you've done a good job. I mean, we've been together a little while. You've done a good job. I give you some breaks. You come back. You've been strong, and you really, give me a lot of good information. Just like the key. That's why. I had to take a break because I got to call and say, hey, somebody might have known that. So that's pertinent information. So I've got to do that. So, that's kind of where we're at. And again, I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm asking because I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm asking. I'm trying to, some details that I'm giving you may help you recall things.
We had a person who was our brother-in-law, and he killed himself December of last year. He blew his brains out in our company truck.
Mm-hmm.
And that devastated Greg to such a degree. He did not hurt himself.
Well, and I'm not saying it, I'm not trying to get on you, but I just, it has happened in the past, again, not saying you, where we had a gentleman that did, and the wife cleaned up the scene because due to the life insurance, and mind you, she didn't know about it. She finds it, she cleans it up because the life insurance won't pay for someone that does commit suicide. And she cleaned it up. I mean, again, I've got to ask these questions. You got to understand. You understand where I'm coming from.
I do.
So I'm trying to work with you the best I can. I'm just asking those details because some of the little things. And again, I'm just getting details over the phone. I'm not there, so I can't give you super specific about exactly which stoop or anything. I'm just telling you what information I'm getting from them. Because I go back and call it. When you take a break, I take a break, make a phone call. I'm saying, hey, just like I say, the key's here. This is what she said happened. So they're trying to put that together with what the scene shows, and they're trying to tell me over the phone. So we're kind of working back and forth. It makes it harder to do, but that's the way it goes, unfortunately. So, and again, not saying he did. I don't know any reason. But that's a question I have to ask. Just like I told you, it's not a comfortable question to ask about personal finances and marital situations, but I have to do that. Unfortunately, that's part of my job. Just like, this whole issue is part of my job. So,
We went to bed very happy last night.
okay.
We're closing on a house that we both love. Tomorrow. Money's not a problem. Relationships not a problem.
Okay.
Everything was good until the middle of the night. Everything was good. And I'm reaching so hard to assume. Greg had lots of people who didn't like him. I mean, a lot. All the time. And many times we said, yeah, you can sleep with one eye open. You know, it's always a joke. It was never serious.
Sure, I've been in this 21 years. I know exactly what you mean. A question about the security system, and you said y'all never activated it. Never activated with the company, or just never set it at night?
None. We never.
Okay.
And our company does it for $5. And
Well, the reason why I ask is a lot of times they can log what exact time the doors open and close and so forth, so that's why I was asking.
it's never, nothing done with it.
Never. And like I say, y'all are renting it, so I mean, that's pretty
Yeah,
understandable.
everything, when we rented, we knew it was temporary, but he still kept saying, oh, I need to set security. And lately he even said, right before we get in the house, we definitely need to do security and cameras if we're not moving. He's very, very insecure,
Right.
nervous man.
Okay.
And, I mean, he just told Keith last night, right before Keith left, I don't trust anybody, if you steal from me, you know, the same spill that any employer would give, that he said, you screw me over, I'll screw you back. I mean, he just,
Well, they found a couple of tools outside the house. Does he have toolbox or tools in the garage?
he has a toolbox in the garage. He usually keeps it locked, but I don't know if he's been as adamant about that. He's very particular about his tools and where they're kept. And but he doesn't use them because he's not a handyman. He pays people to do everything.
He's got tools, but he's not mechanically inclined.
Exactly. He is inclined. He just chooses not to be now that he makes enough money to not have to. It's his variance. He makes enough to not deal with the frustration of using them. The only tools he uses anymore is computer related stuff.
So your smaller things to build computers. I'm assuming by Lady Talk you can build systems and all that from the box itself. Okay. You don't have any in the house. You don't have a drawer with the junk drawer with the screwdrivers and the hammer and
I have
pliers and wrenches and all that.
the laundry room is my junk drawer. I've got a couple of miscellaneous toolbox things. I'm more the give it a whirl handyman kind of person. I'm more inclined to do something than he is when it comes to a screwdriver or something like that, because he was so anal about his toolbox. We opened an account years ago with Capital One that gave us a toolkit. I said, that's mine. I'm gonna keep that one.
So you have a small toolbox.
Yeah, I have like 2 of them in the laundry room.
Well, I'm gonna give you a break for a minute, see if you can think of anything else before we finish up. Okay. I'll step out and give you a break. I'll be back. Oh. Just a couple quick more things. Did anyone go in the bathroom or anything anywhere last night before y'all went to bed?
In the bathroom?
Master
bathroom? Before going to bed? Yes, all the time.
Recall what you did there.
Bathroom, wash your face. We both changed.
Brush teeth.
I brushed mine. No, he didn't brush his.
Anything out of ordinary that you would think of in the house or anything that we find? Or should be aware of? Nothing else you can think of on that. You already mentioned the thing about the steroids and stuff like that. So, can't think of anything else?
No. We had a big birthday party for my daughter on the 25th, and we just had a lot of people there that day, and some of his family members. He has one family member that is very shady. Hadn't seen him in a little while, but just give you one more thing to look at. Michael Williams. Greg only lets him around if Greg is totally around. He's a drug abuser, really bad. And that's to the best of my knowledge. They hadn't had an issue lately, but
You know how old Michael is?
he's 5 years younger. He's 35.
And what city lives in by chance?
Dallas.
He's only allowed around when definitely y'all are there and keep an eye on him. That sounds like.
Yeah.
Kind of way.
Doesn't.
I mean, kind of the way I got it by your way you talked about it. Wait. And kind of just to run this through one more time before you go. And I'm not going to go through all of it. Basically, about 11:30, you went to the bedroom. Greg was already in bed with the laptop. You should close the door partially, not all the way, which is normal. Obviously, TV was on. You know, searched online. About 1 o'clock, he turned on Netflix to some movie. It's not uncommon for the TV to be left on all night long. He took some Tylenol PM sleep. He went ahead and went to sleep. What about, you said both cell phones were on his nightstand?
Right.
Okay.
Sometimes they're both on our own and plugged in and charged, but not always.
And again, after 4, which you're guessing after 4 because you said you were in the ambulance after, you said 5, something.
Right.
So you heard a noise, you got up, opened the bedroom door, I'm assuming, and I don't know exactly, I don't recall. There's steps right there outside the bedroom door. There's like 2 or 3 steps.
There's 2 steps.
Okay. So you kind of got to that point and you were struck. And obviously in the right cheek with an unknown object. And what you recall kind of knocked you out for a short time. Now, before you were struck, did you see anybody?
I didn't see anything.
Just got struck. Then you said you're laying kind of on the steps. You wake up and movement in the bedroom, and you hear a voice of a male. You see somebody standing at the foot of the bed, like you said here. Foot of the bed. You're laying here. See somebody at the foot of the bed. That's when he spoke? Or was it speaking, you recall?
I don't recall. I think I heard the voice before I saw the body.
Okay. You saw movement in there. Obviously, Greg was still in the bed. And you said you heard a shot. And you said you smelled you called it the smoke.
Yeah, it smelled like
powder, gun
yeah.
Powder, okay.
Yeah.
So he was standing here when that occurred, you said?
Yes, I believe that is where I saw him.
Okay. And then he immediately goes there, he said struggles with the door, and then runs out the back door.
Right. He was there long enough for me to know he didn't come in that way because it wasn't open.
Okay.
It wasn't like a door's open and you calling us out of there.
Do you recall saying anything, screaming anything at that point?
After the gunshot, I screamed. It was like a reality just hit that, oh shit, that is what that was. That was a gunshot. And I screamed and I ran over to Greg and I reached for him and saw him.
This is after he ran out?
Yeah.
Okay. You ran over to him and...
Well, crawled over because I was down on the floor and I was very dizzy and disoriented, and so I crawled over to him and grabbed a hold of his hand. And at that time when I grabbed his hand, that's when I heard blood dripping, and I looked at his mouth and I saw the blood coming out of his mouth. And that's when I picked up the cell phone.
Do you recall any blood on his hand?
I don't know, but I do now recall there was blood on my cell phone. Because I'm remembering as I was doing 911 that there was some blood. And I don't know. I know I didn't pick anything up, but I don't know if I just wiped it or what. But
do you remember what you said the officer took your cell phone number? Okay. Check on that. Okay.
yeah, that's how she called my daughter.
Call 911 first? Oh, that's how the officer called your daughter. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't call anyone. I just called 911.
Okay. Well, and see what you just told me about, you believe blood on the phone may explain the blood droplets here. Okay. And that's why.
In the ambulance I did, I don't know if you noticed, I looked down and I had a blood drop there, and that's what I was reaching at. So I did have a little bit of Greg's blood on me. Yeah, right there and on the cell phone.
Oh, how interesting. The truth is steadily being forced out of Michelle. It must have to do with all the evidence. Part 1 ends in the middle of Michelle's interrogation. But in part 2, things begin to uncover. Michelle changes her tune when she's backed into a corner like a rat. And we will watch it together next time on They Caught Me.